Sean Strickland in Orlando, right? You guys remember this? Did you see this going around? We talked about it last week. I'm going to recap it just in case you've been under a rock. But these two are training. They're at the RVCA training center. They're doing a grappling workout. And Orlando is a monster. Orlando's a big guy. Orlando is the most likely guy I know to be able to pull an airplane, right, that's on a rope. He's a beast, and he's also happens to be a world champion. Sean Strickland, who's tough as an old leather boot, is 185 pounds. So when these guys are working out in a grappling realm, it's one of those things where, yeah, Sean could get hurt. He could. Orlando's a world champion at this, and he's huge the right way, right? He's a big, strong guy. I only bring that to you because Orlando did hurt him. Orlando did something to Sean's arm. It was on purpose. It was not on purpose to hurt him. He did do the motion. That's true. He did mean to do the motion. And Sean said, don't do that. That's hurting my arm. And Orlando did it again. And Orlando might have done it like 5 times. Because Orlando did it again after Sean told him not to. Sean identified it, said, that's hurting my arm. Stop. We're in a workout. You're my partner. Stop doing that. Because Orlando did it again, Orlando looked like the skunk at the garden party. I saw something different. Because Orlando did it again and again and again, it told me it was a habit that he couldn't break. It was just something he does. I have those things. I got in one fight in my life in the wrestling room. A buddy of mine named Troy Hughes. But I was grabbing Troy's head. I was grabbing Troy by the head, and then I was hooking his headgear. I was doing that because I was exhausted. I was in survival mode. And that's something I apparently do when I'm exhausted. And he said, don't do that again. Knock it off. It's like, Troy, I can't stop doing it. I'm exhausted. I'm shot. I can either sit down and quit this workout, or I can survive, which involves me pulling on your head and stopping you from attacking me. Now, we don't have time to have this conversation. We're in the midst of a workout, and the only words were said were by him, and he said, stop it. Then he said something again. He said, you do it again, I'm going to punch you. I couldn't stop it. So I just felt for Orlando. I mean, that was in 1995, and I still remember it because I did not want to upset Troy. I did not want to hook and pull on his head. I couldn't stop. Part of the mode. And because Orlando went back to it, even after being called out, it on video made him look bad. I saw something different. I saw a big, strong guy who naturally had a mannerism when somebody goes for an underhook. And Strickland told him, don't do that. But Strickland kept underhooking him. I mean, in all fairness, I don't know that there's a hero in this story, but I don't know that there's a villain either. Yes, Orlando kept doing this technique, but it was a defensive technique, and Strickland kept putting the underhook in. And it makes me think back to my Troy situation. It's like, yes, Troy, I am doing that to your headgear, but only because you won't quit attacking me and I'm trying to slow you down. Like, come on, man. We're both at fault here in some level. So, okay. That's the story, but it went crazy on the internet. Like, I wasn't the only one that found this compelling. And there is something compelling. We don't brag about it. There's not bravado. I'm actually quite a prude about it. I do not like this stuff. But I can't deny that it's compelling. When two fighters fight when they're not supposed to be fighting. That's interesting. And you're going to stop and you're going to look. And it's the truth. Okay. So Sean Strickland made a video today on his Instagram. And he was pissed. I don't see the comments that get said to Sean. I see my own comments, and I know that Sean sees his own comments. But I knew by Sean's video that the comments he was getting was not nice. People were being mean to him, and he was sick of it. He was not into being cyberbullied. And, I mean, he was red hot. I know Sean. I could tell you guys till I'm blue in the face what a gentleman he is. An actual gentleman. I don't just throw that word out. Like, he's very soft-spoken. He will always come over. He will always shake your hand. He is very reserved. I could tell you till I'm blue in the face, that's not the guy that you're going to see. That's not the persona that he puts out. There's a reason he's a cage fighter. He has something inside of him from somewhere in his past. It's just the way it is, right? He's going to appear to you guys to be very rough. He was hot, and it had really bothered him. And the other thing about Sean that Sean forgets. Sean's a young guy, and he hasn't been through this yet. Being cyberbullied happens to everyone, and you aren't off limits just because you're a professional cage fighter. In many ways, people will view that as a bigger badge of honor, that they stepped up and said things to you for all of their friends to say, and you said it right there in public, right there on your Instagram page, right? I mean, as ridiculous as it is to act like that's a bravado, that's the society that we're living in. And apparently Sean hadn't really been through it. The whole piece, by the way, I'm just reflecting back as I'm telling you guys this story. When Sean gets this arm thing done to him a second time by Orlando, Sean just spins into a back fist. And I know Orlando the grappler. I haven't seen him fight. If he's fought, I'm not aware of it. I just know he competitively grapples anybody he can get his hands on. Sean goes right into a spinning back fist, and Orlando brought his hands up. I mean, he blocked it. Then Orlando took a step forward, not to engage, not to get his hands on Sean, to try to calm it down. Well, Sean doesn't know that. It's like, well, not for nothing, dude. I did just hit you in the face, you know? And so when Orlando took a step in, Sean teeps him right in the body, brings his foot up, boom, kicks him in the stomach. Orlando ate them both like it was nothing. I've been punched and kicked by Sean. I mean, there was just so many parts. There were so many things to think of there. It was hard for me to see that and go, hey, Orlando, you actually look pretty good at this fighting thing. How come you aren't doing that? Why are you only competitive grappling? And I realized that isn't supposed to be the takeaway at all. The takeaway of this is supposed to break down who's right here and who's wrong here. And then the coach was filming it, and Orlando did an interview that I saw, and Orlando was trying to explain what happened that day. And him and Sean have made up. Apparently everything's cool in the gang, but he was trying to speak to this video, and he goes, yeah, well, the coach that was filming it was actually his birthday, so he was doing some day drinking. He was drinking at the gym, which is why he thought it was a good idea to put this gym scuffle out on the internet. I mean, the story just kept going. Like the more I was listening, the bigger my eyes got, my jaw started to drop more. I got more and more into the story. I feel as though it's all out there now. I feel as though now we know everything. And as much as we want to create heat between Orlando and Sean, they have made up. And frankly, it's really not our business.